Hey everyone, it's Dr. Andrea with Restoration Chiropractic. I am here today with Bret Ferrante. He's with Black Card Circle. He is a financial strategist and he works with families to help them make their money work better for them. So I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see him and we'll do a little check. I hit the wrong button. I was going to end the thing. Okay, now they can see it.
Hello. Thank you so much, Dr. Andrea, for having me here. It's
Yeah.
a pleasure to be in. Always a very cheery and nice office that you have, so thanks for hosting me.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad to have you. So, you're a financial strategist. You work with people to help them do what with their money?
Well, ultimately, make good financial decisions, but I think really practically what I do is I help people start with a good emotional space for what they want to do with their money, and that means having a goal. And a lot of times people will collect money for the sake of collecting money and not make that goal prominent in their own mind as to why they want to be doing things, why they want to be accumulating that money. And then there's a disconnect that happens with them just accumulating it for the sake of accumulating it, worrying about it, not knowing what to do with it. But goals will sort of channel your emotional ability to know what the money does for you. Ultimately, money is for your own sake. It's to serve you. And having a good goal with it was the first place to start making good financial decisions.
What kind of goals do people have that you can help them with? Like, kind of walk me through what are some of the ways, like what are some goals people have?
Sure, yeah. So starting out, the goals a lot of times could be buying a house, accumulating enough for down payment for a house, maybe college planning, and walking through then all the different expenses that come along with kids, all the way through to retirement. And in fact, definitely for people that as they're approaching retirement, and anybody who's on in the retirement world, knowing how long their money is going to last for them is usually the most top of mind worry, and in that sense can be an opportunity for feeling good about your money when you can put yourself in a position that you know that the money is going to last. And so a strategy to prove to yourself that the money will last and serve you for as long as you're around is something that brings good satisfaction to people, just as it does for the people who don't have that figured out, worry to those people.
Yeah, for sure. What is the benefit of somebody working with you versus like trying to figure out how to manage their money on their own or figure out how to pay for college on their own? Like what do you bring to the table that the average Joe doesn't have?
Sure. So I like to say that I put strategies together for people because a lot of people feel like they need to do financial planning, and that's a little bit of a wordplay, but ultimately I think financial planning means that it connotates the idea of having a big book of binder worth of information that you need to go through and hours of time that's spent. And when the fact is that a simple strategy will allow you to feel better about getting yourself in a position where you're working towards those goals, that you feel confident that they're achievable, and it doesn't take a lot of time, it doesn't take a lot of energy for the sake of doing it, which I think prevents people from taking on what they think is a monumental challenge. So what I feel that I can do for people is make that much more simple, boil it down to simple strategies, and get them to then feel better about what they're doing.
Awesome. What are the top problems that you help families solve?
So it's very much life cycle, like
Have babies, raise babies, send babies to school, die.
Yes, inherit money. Yeah,
right.
What to do when you get an inheritance. I mean, it goes. Really, life events are often what drive the need to think about bigger financial decisions.
Okay.
So I think helping people, getting people prepared for all of those is for those circumstances that we know they're going to come. Maybe not in the near future, but that's a big part of it.
So you mentioned something about like life cycles. So this made me think of something that we haven't even talked about before. Like at what point when a couple gets married should they start figuring out excuse me, should they start figuring out like what are their financial goals and maybe to bring in like a strategist like you to help them? Like at what point should they start thinking about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, at all points. But let's take the family example or the young family, maybe just getting married, thinking about getting married. Um, First of all, there's two buckets to think of it at that time. And that is all the money that they're going to be utilizing pre-retirement, and that could be for a down payment, maybe even for paying for the wedding. Certainly once the child is born, we want to start thinking about college planning. A lot of times that gets put off way too late.
But junior year in college.
Right, yes.
Hello.
But if you think about the fact that you really want 10 years to build a decent amount of investment. So if you're going to make an investment and actually gain, use that to multiply your money, you need 10 to 15 years. So if the child's going in college when they're 18 or 17, then that means you start when they're like 3 or 4.
3 or 4, right? Yeah. So most families probably put that off way too long.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
But in the meantime, if you've got a family that or a couple that just got married, they may want to buy a house within a couple of years. And so in that sense, the strategy is not to try to make a bunch of money with that money. We need to figure out, maybe there's in a 2 to 3 year period we can gain a little bit and make some interest there, but really we want to protect it. We don't want to get in a position where they're out looking for houses and then the stock market crashes and then all of a sudden they're no longer looking for houses. They don't want to be susceptible to things like that. So
yeah, okay,
you play
got
a lot
it.
of defense sometimes depending on what your goal is.
Okay, got it. So I think of one more question. What do you think are the top 2 challenges that people have with their money?
I think paying the right amount of attention to it. I think again, people get scared by thinking that they have to do a financial plan. They totally ignore it, and so I think the idea is that you need to spend time. You need to put some attention to it, but you need to not make it something that is such a grand challenge to yourself that you end up putting it off. And I think the other thing is to realize that there are a lot of great options out there. There's a lot of good options out there, and there's a lot of bad ones too. So, but when I think people get in their own minds when they maybe have some sort of product or some sort of strategy they want to execute, I need to find the absolute best of whatever it is. In a lot of cases, it's just like saying, if you wanted to have a savings account and you were looking at Wells Fargo versus Chase or wherever it may be, there's a lot of banks that are good, are going to do exactly what you need them to do. A lot of times then you just need to find which ones are in that good class and not worry about going further than that. And so, I think people put pressure on themselves at trying to find, there's only one right thing to do out there, when there's lots of right things to do, and so long as you understand what it is that you're doing and it's working you towards a goal, you can feel good about it.
Okay, good. Awesome. So if somebody wanted to reach out to you for help in terms of like figuring out how to save money to buy a house, or how to get started with college planning, or they're newly married and they want to figure out how to start planning to have kids, because that's super expensive, as you and I both know.
Sure.
Or even if they're a little bit older and they want to start planning for retirement, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so my phone number and email are the best. So just do the phone number.
Yeah, just do them, and then I can pop
sure.
them in the comments after.
All right, sure. The phone number is 818-571-2126.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's Bret Ferrante at blackcardcircle.com. So it's BretFerrante. And then the color black, like the card, like credit card, and circle, all 3 words together.com.
And I'll put that in the comments. Awesome. Well, Bret, thanks for coming in and having a chat with me today.
Thanks again for hosting.
Yeah, of course. You guys, if you want to reach out to Bret, it's Bret Ferrante at blackcardcircle.com. I'll pop that in the comments. The phone number is 818-571-2126. If you're a family and you feel like you need some financial strategy help, I definitely recommend reaching out to him. He knows his stuff. He was one of the first people I met in the community when I opened up the practice, and glad to have you.
All right. Thanks again.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.